The roadmap being quite easy. Chronic inflammatory arthritis has rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. And when we talk of that, we have divided into following criteria, that's disease burden, then pathophysiology, then going for the current options and their limitations, and lastly the role of a novel anti-inflammatory agent on which we have to deliver today. Rheumatoid arthritis, as you all know, is a systemic disorder characterized by chronic inflammatory polyarthritis of unknown etiology. Inflammatory state also involves skin, eyes, lungs, and blood vessels. It has a fluctuating clinical course and unpredictable prognosis, associated with 60% increase in the risk of cardiovascular disease-related death. Then the pathogenesis is complex and multifactorial. Rheumatoid arthritis, the pathophysiology. In the pathophysiology, by some unknown reaction, there is an activation of macrophages by antigen-presenting cells and T cells, which results in the release of inflammatory cytokines from macrophages, mostly the TNF-alpha and IL-1, the interleukin and the tumor necrotic factor alpha. TNF-alpha and IL-1 leads to a plethora of things. The pathophysiology first starts with synovitis, then production of collagenase, which leads to the destruction of extracellular matrix, and then is the release of MMPs. The MMP being matrix metalloproteinase, which leads to cartilage destruction. The pannus formation later on with the metalloproteosis and B cells and T cells been released. These all interleukins and all those cytokines, they play an important role in the cartilage destruction, which is followed by bony erosions and ultimately fibrous ankylosis of a joint. So that is all shown in this video. These are the pro-inflammatory cytokines being released by this TNF-alpha, IL-1, IL-6. Yes. The video is self-explanatory, so I need not speak.
Activated chondrocytes secrete more inflammatory factors and more metalloproteinases, MMPs, which aggravates inflammation and cartilage damage. The cumulative result is irreversible cartilage damage and joint space narrowing. Under normal conditions, bone remodeling involves a tightly regulated balance between bone resorption and bone formation. However, excessive TNF-alpha helps stimulate osteoclastogenesis and bone destruction. In the marrow, TNF-alpha helps stimulate monocyte differentiation into osteoclast precursors. At inflamed joints, in the presence of macrophage colony stimulating factor, TNF-alpha and rank ligand, osteoclast precursors differentiate into mature osteoclasts, resulting in bone resorption. Thus, the direct and indirect effects of the TNF-alpha on osteoclast maturation and activation culminate in focal bone erosions and irreversible joint damage.
The physiology of osteoarthritis. Again, TNF alpha and IL-1 are the major cytokines. Apart from TNF alpha and IL-1, there are elevated levels of other cytokines. MMP have also been shown to be implicated in OA. Now this is an inflammatory osteoarthritis. When we talk of the pathophysiology of rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, we come to the conclusion that these are the major inflammatory cytokines, TNF alpha and interleukin 1. Release of this inflammatory cytokines is regulated by NFKB, that is nuclear factor kappa B. Nuclear factor kappa B is a transcription factor present in all cells, and it plays an essential role in inflammatory and immune responses. In fact, it's a master switch to turn inflammation on and off in the body. Disorders due to this NFKB activation are rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, ankylosing spondylosis, psoriatic arthritis, and juvenile RA. The master switch of inflammation thus is NFKB. The activation of this nuclear factor kappa B leads to first the inflammatory stimuli, then activation of NFKB, then the sequence is the translocation into nucleus, then activation of genes encoding inflammatory mediators, then release of inflammatory mediators, which are shown in the diagram. Now, the threefold mechanism of action involves first the synovial membrane, wherein there is inflammation and proliferation of synoviocytes, which is the pannus formation. The chondrocytes, increased activity of COX-2 and MMPs lead to cartilage destruction, and ultimately the bone osteoclastogenesis and bone erosion takes place. Now, NFKB plays a crucial role in inflammatory and immune responses through the regulation of genes encoding pro-inflammatory cytokines. Now, the most innovative option for management of arthritis is the nuclear factor kappa B inhibitor, the drug curcumin diferroyl methane. It's very difficult to pronounce it. The biologically active phytochemical compound obtained from rhizomes of Curcuma longa. It possesses diverse properties like anti-inflammatory agent, antioxidant, anti-proliferative, and anti-angiogenic. All these things which leads to the destruction of the joint in RA and OA. Curcumin being the NFKB inhibitor, the NFKB is controlled, that is the master switch of inflammation by curcumin. And if no inflammation is there, the curcumin acts at multiple sites of multiple sites. It prevents activation of NFKB by inhibiting the IKB kinase, prevents translocation into nucleus, prevents release of inflammatory mediators. And there is an evidence of curcumin which has a prominent role in preventing RA and OA. The comparative study of curcumin with diclofenac. Curcumin provided greater improvement in disease activity score and ACR. ACR means the components of American College of Rheumatology response, where total painful joints, total swollen joints, then patient's GA, that is global assessment of disease, physician's GA, and disability index has been taken into account. And 52% reduction in CRP levels are seen with curcumin. In a pilot study of curcumin, 18 patients with RA were treated with curcumin for 2 weeks. It improved joint swelling, morning stiffness, and walking time, and was very well tolerated with better GI tolerability. Now, 820 OA patients attending outpatient clinics were treated with curcumin for 6 months. Curcumin therapy provided significant improvement in pain, improved joint flexibility, and gave a better quality of life. 50% of patients were able to discontinue use of NSAIDs and analgesics. Curcumin therapy was very well tolerated. It relieves pain and reduces the need for NSAIDs in osteoarthritis. In a comparative study of curcumin with ibuprofen, 376 primary knee OA patients with a pain score of greater or equal to 5 were randomized to receive ibuprofen about 1200 milligram per day or curcumin for 4 weeks. Significant decrease in WOMAC pain, stiffness and function score from baseline in both groups. Now WOMAC is a Western Ontario and McMaster Universities index for comparison. Curcumin was found as effective as ibuprofen. Lower incidence of GI adverse effects were seen in curcumin and it has been seen that it has a better GI tolerability. The role of curcumin monotherapy. 100 patients with OA were treated with only curcumin for 8 months. Results showed that there was a significant decrease in serum inflammatory biomarkers, that is interleukin 1, alpha, beta and others, like soluble CD40 ligand, soluble vascular cell adhesion molecule and ESR. There was the increased 50% decrease in WOMAC score, threefold increase in treadmill walking performance. In patients already on NSAIDs analgesics, co-administration of curcumin was associated with decreased need for NSAIDs and marked reduction in GI side effects. So it is effective and safe for long-term management of OA. Now combination of therapy of curcumin and diclofenac. When it was combined with diclofenac for 3 months, as compared to diclofenac monotherapy, combination of curcumin with diclofenac was associated with greater pain relief and better improvement in knee injury as well as osteoarthritis outcome score. So it provided additional benefits. Combination therapy. When given with celecoxib, it enhances its action and decreases need for celecoxib. When given with prednisolone, additive anti-inflammatory action through inhibition of inflammatory cytokines, significant reduction in joint swelling, reduction in side effects due to steroids are seen. When administered with methotrexate, it provides synergic anti-arthritic action, may help to reduce dose of methotrexate, as well as there is reduced risk of hepatotoxicity and hematological toxicities. Now curcumin safety is generally recognized as safe by the US FDA. No noticeable adverse events were observed with doses up to 8 grams daily for 3 months. Unlike NSAIDs, free from adverse effects on kidney, liver or cardiovascular system even after long-term use. Occasional patients may complain of mild and transient nausea or diarrhea. Unlike NSAIDs, steroids and DMARDs, curcumin is very well tolerated. Introducing a novel formulation of curcumin. Conventional curcumin has its own limitations. It was poorly water soluble, polyphenolic compound, poorly absorbed from GI tract, undetectable in plasma, does not reach systemic organs and tissues, so efficacy is questionable. The clinical trials carried out with conventional curcumin have used higher doses up to 12 grams per day. Few studies have not shown positive results, poor GI tolerability. Hence, there was a need for a bioavailable, effective and well-tolerated curcumin formulation. And this bioenhanced curcumin was developed by the SMETS technology, a novel formulation of curcumin using self-micro emulsifying drug delivery system has been developed. What this technology provides is a nano-sized hydrophilic droplets of curcumin which have improved absorption and better tissue penetration. Hence the bioavailability is higher. Bioenhanced curcumin dosage may vary from patient to patient depending upon disease severity, degree of inflammation and patient response. Majority of patients with mild to moderate inflammation usually respond to 100 to 200 milligram per day. If required, one can increase dose up to 400 milligram per day. Bioenhanced curcumin, the summary is that it inhibits the master switch of inflammation, nuclear factor kappa B, decreases release of inflammatory prostaglandins and cytokines. Monotherapy found to be effective and safe in treatment of both rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. Efficacy at par with NSAIDs but with better GI tolerability. Can be used along with NSAIDs, steroids, provide additive or synergistic action, helps in dose reduction. Can be used along with methotrexate, helps reduce the risk of hepatotoxicity as well as hematological complications. Unlike biologics, can be given orally, is safe and well tolerated. So it's a suitable option for monotherapy. Bioenhanced curcumin, an attractive option in management of RA and OA, either as monotherapy or combination therapy. Particularly useful option in following group of patients: intolerant to NSAIDs, steroids or DMARDs, compromised renal function, hepatic dysfunction, CV disorders, hypertension and CHF, effective, safe and well tolerated treatment option. So, with curcumin, bioenhanced curcumin, let us make life pain-free. Thank you very much, and thank you, Cadila, for getting me on this dais of IAMICON. Thank you very much.